I think I know how Tony Stark was able to wield the Infinity Stones in Avengers Endgame. You remember in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Star-Lord jumps for the Power Stone, right? Knowing damn well that holding the power of an Infinity Stone directly can destroy you, which is why things like the Infinity Gauntlet exists, when Star-Lord, after jumping for it, reaches and catches it just in time before Ronan. He grabs it and he falls on the floor and starts burning from the inside out from the power of the stone. Then slowly he starts deteriorating into ash until just in time and the rest of the Guardians grab him and divide the power between all of them and eventually stop Ronan. Or maybe you remember when Red Skull attempted to possess the power of the gods when he got sent to Vormir after holding the Tesseract, something we don't learn until years later. Or that Thanos could barely attain all the powers of the stone after collecting all the stones. Or maybe like Hulk, who's made of the same radiation particles that the stones are made out of, being gamma radiation, even melting his arm off in the process. Then knowing all of that, my question becomes, how did Tony Stark, a human being, not only have enough time and power to say, "And I am Iron Man," but to wield all 6 stones while doing it? Well, I think I figured that out. You see, there's 2 main issues here. Not only how was Tony able to wield them, but also how was the nanotech created by a human being able to attain the sheer power of the Infinity Stones themselves? Infinity Stones that, mind you, needed the rays of a dying star and Uru metal to simply even be held, only for Tony Stark, Rocket Raccoon, and Bruce Banner to 3D print them in his basement. Well, I think I got that too. First off, the Nano Gauntlet is not just advanced 3D printing tech. It's not something that Tony just invented out of the blue. You see, Tony Stark got nanotech through some vibranium from Shuri off screen, something that a lot of people don't even know, but it was confirmed through the book, The Wakanda Files, meaning all nanotechnology is perfected and refined vibranium tech. Kind of like the suit of the Black Panther, but better because it's Tony Stark. For example, because of the suit of the Black Panther, we know that vibranium is capable of retaining kinetic energy, which is basically the energy an object has simply because it is moving. Essentially meaning the faster it moves or the heavier it is, the more kinetic energy that it has. Which is why when T'Challa kicks his Black Panther suit in Black Panther 1, it stores the energy and it turns purple. Or even when something small, like a bullet, hits it, it stores the kinetic energy and it turns purple. But the only problem to T'Challa's suit is that there's a limit to the amount of energy the suit can handle itself. Because y'all remember in the first movie, after absorbing one giant grenade explosion, the kinetic energy is then stored and then turned purple. But the second grenade from Killmonger causes an immediate energy release. Or maybe in the final battle, T'Challa is completely overwhelmed by all these attackers. He's getting beat on. He doesn't know what to do, but then it leads to a huge energy pulse, but not Tony Stark. Tony was able to take the vibranium, then perfect it and give it a new name, giving it nanotech, in which he's able to now take the full might and power of Thor's lightning that, mind you, use both Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, which used the rays of a dying star and Uru metal to forge, bringing the suit at that point well over 400% capacity in comparison to Avengers 1, before Thor's major power-up over a 10-year span that he ate like a champ against Thanos. And so, on top of the fact that Tony's nanotech is much different than just the Wakandans in that it can hold insane amounts of power, you had 3 of the smartest minds in the galaxy working on it all at once. For one, Rocket Raccoon, a being that as a toddler rivaled the High Evolutionary's genius by finding the flaw in the complex cytoplasmic filtration systems just by looking at it. Or maybe Bruce Banner, the man who holds 7 PhDs in fields like nuclear physics, biochemistry, radiophysics, engineering, robotics, computer science, and mathematics. And then not to mention Tony Stark, a man who synthesized an entirely new element, created Jarvis, invented time travel, miniaturized the arc reactor in a cave with a box of scraps. Which leads me to my next point. Even if the gauntlet held, how did Tony not die? A human being. And for that, we have to go all the way back to Iron Man.
That doesn't look like a Jericho missile.
That's because it's a miniaturized arc reactor. I got a big one powering my factory at home. Should keep the shrapnel out of my heart.
But what could it generate?
If my math is right, and it always is, 3 gigajoules per second.
That could run your heart for 50 lifetimes.
Yeah. Or something big for 15 minutes.
50 years or something really big for 15 minutes. But that something big from that version of the arc reactor could not have been a nano gauntlet capable of wielding all of the stones, until we get to Iron Man 2, where Tony Stark, after slowly dying from the toxic particles that are entering his bloodstream from the heart, he invents a new element called potassium, in which he used to create his triangular unibeam, which emitted 2 to 3, maybe 4 or 5 the amount of power as the original arc reactor, meaning it could have powered his heart for 150 lifetimes or something really big for 30 or 45 minutes instead of 50 lifetimes or 15 minutes if we used that same math. And so, I believe Tony Stark, coupled with the perfected Wakandan technology in nanotech, capable of withstanding the full might and power of a god in Thor, and 2 cosmic battle weapons on top of the help from the 3 greatest minds available at the time in Rocket Raccoon, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark, tripled with a heart capable of harnessing the power of all of Eastern United States or 150 lifetimes or something really big for 45 minutes, was more than capable of harnessing the power of the Nano Gauntlet to sacrifice himself for the lives of everyone in existence.